Hello YouTube. What you're looking at is a customized M700 gas airsoft sniper rifle. This thing has a great deal of upgrades in it. So starting off, well, why gas? Gas is very nice because you have a very light trigger pull of only a few pounds with only a few degrees reset. Now this trigger I have custom redone with a steel sear, and with that it makes it with a very, very light trigger pull. The other thing is cycle rate. If I look, I can achieve a very high cycle rate with the gas because I don't have to pull it back. In fact, you only have to pull it back to right there to reset the spring, so you can definitely short stroke. And the last thing for a gas is there's no whack of a cylinder head. All you have is the gas. And this thing is loud because this baby's shooting over 650 with propane. Okay, so moving on to the upgrades. Now the primary thing that, well, honestly sucks about gas airsoft sniper rifles is that the gas systems are very weak. They're used from parts from airsoft pistols, and in such they are very weak. They provide, and because the material is so weak, you have to put a very, very weak spring in the striker spring, which is the primary way that hits this little button in the back of the magazine. And when that hits it, it releases gas up through here, which is rerouted behind the BB into the hollow chamber. And in order to get that as a more positive and more reliable hit on the magazine, you have to increase the spring tension. However, whenever you increase the spring tension, because this is mostly pot metal with very, very small amount of steel, if I were to just upgrade the spring, it would provide a positive hit, but the internal components of the magazine would shatter and fall apart within a matter of a few shots. So what we had to do is upgrade the spring, and this little piece back here is called the cocking lever, and that's what actually stops it. So whenever you pull the trigger back, it stays on this, and whenever it fires, this piece fires forward, which fires into a little tiny metal piece back here, which pushes out into the magazine. So you have to upgrade that. You upgrade the spring, you upgrade the cocking piece. You upgrade the cocking piece, and the reason it was so hard to do that is it's not meant to come out, because it doesn't go that far in the gun. And then into the magazines, you actually have to create a piece of steel bar for it to actually hit. And then there's a few other steel rocker plates in here that had to be changed. Now the other modifications to the magazine is an increased spring. You can see that there's spring tension right there. That's what actually seals against the rubber piece in the bottom of the magazine, because this comes over in here like that and seals. So you can see that's what seals into that part of the magazine. And all in all, it gives you a very positive hit. The only other upgrade would be to use a regulated air source, as currently these are set up for two-phase gas, so either duster gas or propane gas, green gas or 134A. I would not use these on red gas. You may get more area, but these magazines really aren't designed for that pressure. Okay, so moving on, that tackles the consistency aspect, or the aspect of the firing system. So now we need to move into the hop up and barrel. This unit has a EdGi custom 6.01 millimeter barrel. EdGi makes very, very good barrels. They're expensive barrels, but if you're putting a lot of money into upgrading, you just can't beat them. And the reason for that is most people have, let's say, a 6.1 or 6.01 millimeter barrel, but the tolerance on the tolerances will be so off that it doesn't really matter. EdGi boasts that they get, now don't quote me on this, but I believe it's 0.00018 millimeters. It may be even a higher precision than that. There may be 4 zeros there. But, so moving on, you got for the hop up The hop-up rubber that is in this particular one is the King Arm air seal chamber. Now, inherently the design is sort of flawed in the respect that it uses a pistol hop-up unit, but that doesn't really matter because EdGi, with the EdGi barrel and the King Arms hop-up chamber, which is a V hop-up, gives a very, very stable flight. This gun can hit targets or hit human-sized targets reliably out to 250 feet. You can get lucky out to 300 feet, but that's pretty much the upper end of airsoft sniping, is out to 100 feet, which you're working in safety. And the main custom modification is to the trigger. I have access to a machine shop, so I completely remachined the internals of the trigger to have a very, very positive click. And the modification there is that the stock trigger sear, which is the actual lever that trips the trigger, is made from a piece of bent hot metal, which is very, very inconsistent because the pot metal is rounded, so it gives a slight let off of the trigger assembly. Now, with this new trigger, I have shock tested this rifle up to not this particular one, but the trigger in another KJW body I had that I did a lot of testing with. Fortunately, I don't have video of that. I shock tested this trigger up to a 10-foot drop onto concrete with the butt, and it did not trip the trigger. The other reason you need these upgraded parts is they will wear out, and if they wear out, all that force when the gun is cocked is on this back piece, and if that back piece wears out, the gun can prematurely fire when you're in the middle of a skirmish. Maybe you're running and you dive behind a barricade and you end up shooting your buddy in the backside. Not a very fun day when this gun is pushing 600 FPS plus. So that's about it. Next thing, I'll show you the internals. Now, notice these have tape mods, and this is actually just to free float the barrel so it can vibrate. It can reach the harmonics. Pull this loose, and there's your. See that? That is your hop-up chamber, and this is the Teflon tape mod. The Teflon tape mod is a required mod because these things they leak very easily, and so that prevents the air leaking, which is one of the mods to increase your consistency. Okay, now you got your trigger. Go ahead and show you the sear in action. The sear is actually these top two portions. Flip it over. You see inside of this little tiny hole. Right now the safety is engaged, so the trigger sear, which is actually the bottom one, and I'll try to zoom in on this in a second. Hopefully there should be a cut in here. The bottom one is the actual trigger sear, and the top sear, which is what actually holds this back piece on, is engaged, and there's only about 2 millimeters of the bottom sear that's engaged. So then I pull that, and you notice I just bumped that and it went off. All in all, that's one of the best things about a gas rifle is the ability to have such a light trigger pull. Most of your springers require a very, very long trigger pull and a very, very hard trigger pull. The other thing is this piece. If I can get it out. This is the piece right here that actually fires into the back of the magazine. And this is actually replaced. This is another upgrade from G&G that is to increase the durability.